Shalom. I just want to share. Like I said, I don't take on the stance that I know everything. Um, but Abba is really the great instructor. So he does everything to allow you to learn. And so I just try to always research and everything. And I was talking to one of my neighbors a moment ago, just telling him I apologize if I've offended him in any kind of way. And he appears to be a real good guy, very knowledgeable. So I was just sharing because I know that they're mostly military personnel or retired or whatever like that. So I was talking to him and sharing some information. And the reason I shared it with him because at the end of this document, it was talking about those men and women who sacrificed their lives and oftentimes did not even know the real purpose. So I shared that with him, in good faith, out of love, no bad faith intent, and just have the conversation. So I'm gonna try to make this one video, so I'm gonna try to read fast. It was Act of 1871, World Newsstand Act of 1871. 1871, February 21st, Congress passes an act to provide a government for the District of Columbia, also known as the Act of 1871. With no constitutional authority to do so, Congress created a separate form of government for the District of Columbia, 10-mile square parcel of land. See Acts of the 41st Congress, Section 34, Session 3, Chapter 61 and 62. The act passed when the country was weakened and financially depleted in the aftermath of the Civil War. Was a strategic move by foreign interests, international bankers who were intent upon gaining a stranglehold on the coffers and neck of America. Congress cut a deal with the international bankers, specifically Rothschilds of London, to incur a debt to said bankers. Because the bankers were not about to lend money to a floundering nation without the serious stipulations, they devised a way to get their foot in the door of the United States. The Act of 1871 formed a corporation called in all capital letters, the United States. The corporation owned by the foreign interests moved in and shoved the original Constitution into a dustbin. With the Act of 1871, the organic Constitution was defaced, in effect vandalized and sabotaged, when the title was capitalized and the word "for" was changed to "of" in the title. The Constitution of the United States of America is the Constitution of the Incorporated United States of America, all capitalized. It operates in an economic capacity and has been used to fool the people into thinking it governs the republic. Let me get that right. It does it not. Capitalization is not insignificant when one is referring to the legal document. This seemingly minor alteration has had a major impact on every subsequent generation of Americans. What Congress did by passing the Act of 1871 was create an entirely new document, a constitution for the government of the District of Columbia, an incorporated government. This newly altered constitution was not intended to benefit the Republic. It benefits only the corporation of the United States of America, capitalized, all caps, and operates entirely outside the original organic Constitution. Instead of having absolute and unalienable rights guaranteed under the organic Constitution, the people now have relative rights or privileges. One example is the sovereign's right to travel, which has now been transformed under corporate government policy into a privilege that requires citizens to be licensed passports by passing the Act of 1871, and this is all for informational purposes. Congress committed treason against the people who were sovereign under the grant and decrees of the Declaration of Independence and Organic Constitution. Information courtesy of Lisa Giuliani, www.babelmagazine.com. The Act of 1871 became the foundation of all the treason since committed by the government officials. Dove. The following is an expansion and further explanation of the above and adaptation of Lisa's work done with her permission, which you may want to read for your own edification. Whereas my chapter 9, this is their chapter 9, it's not mine. Whereas my chapter 9 is a time map of the major headlines and landmines of the 200 years plus history of America. Each subsequent chapter goes into particular details. This section is from chapter 18, The Tale of Two Governments, which overall addresses the difference between a democracy and a republic, as well as the fact of a federal government and a shadow government practicing under the guise of the corporation. I'm sure Lisa won't mind you using what you need in order to make whatever point you wish to make the moment. See, the United States isn't a country, it's a corporation. In preparation for stealing America, the puppets of Britain's banking cable had already created a second government, a shadow government designed to manage what the common herd believed was a democracy. But what really was an incorporated United States. Together, this chimera, this two-headed monster, disallowed common herd all rights of sojourners, you and your sovereignty. Congress, with no authority to do so, created a separate form of government for the District of Columbia, a 10-mile square parcel of land. Why and how did they do so? First, Lisa Galino of Babel magazine reminds us that the Civil War was, and in fact, little more than a calculated front with fancy footwork by the backroom players. Then she adds, it was also a strategic maneuver by British and European interests, international bankers intent on gaining the stranglehold on coffers of America. And because Congress knew our country was in dire financial straits, certain members of Congress cut a deal with the international bankers in those days. Rothschilds of London were dipping their fingers into everyone's pie. There you have the why members of Congress permitted the international bankers to gain further control of America. Then, by passing the Act of 1871, Congress formed a corporation known as the United States. This in all caps. This corporation, owned by the foreign interests, shoved the organic version of the Constitution aside by changing the word "for" to "of" in the title. Let me explain. The original Constitution drafted by the fathers read, "The Constitution for the United States of America." Note that neither the word United nor States began with capital letters, but the Constitution of the United States of America, in all caps, is a corporate constitution, which is absolutely not the same document you think it is. First of all, it ended all, I'm not saying my rights, it ended all the rights of sovereignty, say jurors. So you now have the how the international bankers got their hands on the all capital United States of America. To fully understand how their rights of sovereignty were ended, you must know the full meaning of sovereign. Chief or highest supreme power, superior in position to all others, independent of and unlimited by others, possessing or entitled to or original or independent authority of jurisdiction. Webster. This might turn out to be a two-part. In short, the government, which was created by and for us as sovereigns, free citizens, deemed to have the highest authority in the land, was stolen from them. Not stolen from me, because I don't claim that. I claim my sovereign authority by action. Along with our rights, keep in mind that according to the original Constitution, only we the people are sovereign. This is what she says. Government is not sovereign. The declaration she said that's us, the sovereigns. When did you last feel like a sovereign, as Lisa Galuni explained? It doesn't take a rocket scientist or a constitutional historian to figure out that the U.S. government has not been subject to the consent of the governed since the last before, she says, you and I were born. Rather, the governed are subject to the whim and greed of the corporation, which has stretched its tentacles beyond the 10-mile square parcel of the land as the District of Columbia. In fact, it has invaded every state of the Republic. Mind you, the corporation has no jurisdiction beyond the District of Columbia. You just like it, just like you just think it does. You see, you are presumed to know the law, which is very weird since she says we the people are taught nothing about the law in school. We memorize obscure facts and phrases here and there, like the preamble, which says, "We the people establish this Constitution for the United States of America." But our teachers only gloss over the Bill of Rights. This is all her saying. All our schools controlled by the corporate government don't delve into the Constitution at depth. After all, the corporation was established to indoctrinate and dumb down the masses, not to teach anything of value or importance. Certainly, no one mentioned that America was sold out to foreign interests, that we were beneficiaries of the debt. That's what she's saying, not me. I'm not part of their debt. I authorized to discharge their debt. That we were, this was continue to say that we were beneficiaries of the debt incurred by Congress, or that we were in debt to the international bankers. Yet, for generations, Americans have had the bulk of their earnings confiscated to pay a massive debt that they did not incur. There's an endless stream of things the people aren't told. And now that you are being told, how do you feel about being made the recipient of a debt without your knowledge or consent? After passage of the Act of 1871, Congress set a series of subtle and overt deceptions into motion. These deceptions in the form of decisions that were meant to sail us down the river. Over time, the Republic took it on the chin until it was knocked down and counted out by the technical KO knockout. With the surrender of the people's gold in 1933, the common herd was handed over to the illegitimate law. All right, let me go to part 2.